Welcome to the Fish House Nation podcast. I'm Chris Larson along with Al Escobedo, and we are talking ice fishing today. And I did a show last year where I talked about what ice fishing would be like, you know, in Yankee Stadium. I picked out all these baseball stadiums and I had AI create a photo of all the different places you could possibly ice fish with a fish house. I thought it was cool. Some people thought it was dumb. And maybe that's what today's show is going to be. I'm going to think it's cool and some people may think it's dumb. But what I want to do is come up with the ultimate ice fishing house if technology were not a thing. We lived in like the world of the Jetsons and we could just make whatever we want. And money's not an object. We can just do whatever we want. What does that fish house look like? What kind of things are going to be in it? I think it's kind of a fun concept. You know, I know that you know that I'm sort of had a phase in my life where I was kind of a Disney nerd. And kind of, yep. And Walt Disney, you know, like that's what I'm like, how would Walt do this? You know, if Walt Disney was going to like think of something like Epcot type of thing, but for ice fishing houses.
I feel like we should have a little glass of whiskey and a cigarette if we're going to do it.
That's exactly
we're gonna do a Disney style.
That's the kind of show we're talking about here. So I got some ideas. I know you've got some ideas. I'll let you give me one of your ideas. What do you think? What's your house going to have in it?
The first thing I would have, it's not really what the house has in it, it's what it is.
Okay.
See, if we're jumping to Jetsons, see, I was thinking when we kind of were starting to talk about this as an idea, you know, I was thinking probably a little too small fry, and what I was thinking, you know, was kind of a Willcraft type machine. You know, it's that little type of john boat that you can run out with a motor, but something like that with a fan that had a hard side to it that you could, you know, you see the guys down on the river with the fan boats, you can get on a lot of thinner ice, you can get out earlier.
Yeah.
But with the Willcraft, the reason why I picked that particular design is because it's a flip over shack that you can float in the water, then you just pop out the holes. When you get on the ice, drill a hole, flip up the shack, and you fish right inside. When you're ready to move, you put the plugs back in the holes, and you're ready to go. You can go right down the water. I thought that'd be pretty cool, but you know, then now we get on camera and start talking Jetsons, and it's pretty simple. It's got to hover. You know?
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know about you guys. I know it's an argument I have with my friends all the time. Fishing in a boat or ice fishing. Yep. I like to ice fish more myself. To me, it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that I can be a little bit lazier just sitting there staring at the hole. I'm not casting. I'm not trying to control the boat, fighting the wind, whatever it is. But if I had a hovercraft machine, I could ice fish all the time. Yeah. You know, have a little hole in there. And we'll get into the electronics, but I think I'll start off with saying I'd pick something that could hover, lightweight, obviously if it's hovering, that I could fish right out of with that heat, nice temperature controlled.
I didn't think of hovering, but I like where you're going with it. But I'm not going lightweight because I don't want to flip anything over. We're going to be very comfortable inside. It's going to be total hard-sided, but I like the hovering. I like where you went with that, so that I can go out on any type of ice condition. If it's 3 inches of ice, cool.
It's raining. Yeah. You don't want to take the boat out. It's opening day on Mille Lacs. You want to go out there and troll frickin' Lindy's all day.
You could still do it.
Just go troll them in your ice shack.
So I like that. But what I was thinking, the number one thing I want is I want in-floor heating. The one thing I love about ice fishing out of a fish house is wearing my slippers. And if I could even take the slippers off and just go either barefoot or just go stocking foot and have a nice warm floor, I definitely would have in-floor heating in my house. And I think that could be done.
From all our years of working together, I'm just going to stop you. You know, my favorite thing to do is poke holes in the Chris Larson idea, and it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
It's a great idea, but I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, if we're hovering, I'm going to assume that the propulsion is somewhere on the underside of it, and I would assume that that's going to generate some sort of heat, you know, keeping your feet a little bit warm.
Okay.
But the other thing is, you know, why do your feet get so much colder in a portable versus a hard side house? Because how come when you lay down a little bit of foam in your portable house and pick your feet up, your feet stay a little bit warmer? We're hovering, baby. We don't have any contact with ice. Don't even have to worry about those feet.
Yeah, I'm still putting in floor heating.
Yeah,
and floor heating
sissy
is what I'm doing for sure. But the other thing that I really would like to have is I love my pellet grill. And I know some guys do take their pellet grill out, but it does become kind of a little bit messy just because you need electric to run it. So if you're not running your generator all the time, it's kind of a hassle. But if we could get, maybe I could just bring out a smoker. But I like to be able to cook when I'm on the ice, so I'm going to have a full outdoor kitchen connected to the fish house, and that's something you see in RVs all the time. I think you don't see it in ice fishing as much, just because some people don't want to sit outside when it's -10 and cook. But I think I'd want an outdoor kitchen.
Well, what I'll tell you off topic of this, for those guys that are thinking about cooking outside and don't want to cook on those crappy days, buy a hub house.
Yeah,
it's a great. Whenever we fish in a hard-sided house, we bring a hub house. And that hub house doubles for triples, multiple purposes. My wife has a bathroom if we're in a hard house that doesn't have a bathroom. We have a place you can go and privately use the restroom. You wake up in the morning, you got to do your business, turn on the heater. You got a nice warm place. Obviously, that's kind of weird to talk about cooking in that same place, but you're taking all that out. Whatever you do in there bathroom-wise, you're taking it out. Or if you're more comfortable, move it over a little bit. Set your grill up in there. Make sure you have all the vents open, all the windows open. Easy peasy, get out of the elements. It's always an option. You can always make it happen.
Yeah.
But again, you're going to be hovering, bud. You don't have to worry about
We're solving all the
that.
world's problems with hovering.
I think so.
So it's funny that you bring it up, because I've done the Shields Ice Fest show in St. Cloud every year, and my friend and sort of my boss, the guy I work for when I'm up there, Steve Hansen, he always brings his Eskimo Outbreak 850 with him, and he's always got his little like travel Traeger, and we smoke in there all the time. And then he's got his little travel Blackstone, and like we turn that 850 into the kitchen for the crew when we're working Shields Ice Fest. So yeah, bring that baby out on the ice with you, and you can do the same thing if it's too cold for you to cook outside in your fish house. What else? What else are you thinking? I like the hovering thing. I like think like a floating snow bear, I think would probably
That's essentially what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, you know, we're hovering. We got no limitations. We're going to go a lot bigger. We're going to have a nice bunk system then there to sleep. A little kit. I go to fish personally. I'm the guy that you have to drag me away from the hole to get me to take a drink of water or whatever. I zone in, and I just love to fish. So usually, whoever comes with me, they're the ones doing the cooking, whether it's Chris, my dad, whatever. But
yeah, you're the guy who catches all the fish.
But
we bring you along for that.
You know, so it'll have a kitchen. I wouldn't go as extravagant as Chris would. You know, I love a good meal, obviously, but to me, when I'm out on the ice, I don't want to go too gourmet. There's something about keeping it a little rough. And, you know, granted, we're already hovering. You know, I want to keep a little tradition alive. You know, maybe a couple brats on the grill, couple dogs, burgers. Keep it simple. Midday pizza, nothing crazy there. You know, we were talking about the pop-up for the current situation of houses, but that's another thing. I mean, I don't know how hover plumbing works, But I would have a bathroom that you wouldn't you wouldn't have to empty the tank even. I mean, we're talking, you said no limitations.
Right.
So we're going to have running water.
Technology.
We're going to be able to flush. It's not going to smell. You're not going to have to sit up, complain that which one of your buddies snuck in and took a crap when they're not supposed to be using the house for that, that type of deal.
Yep. No, that was actually going to be my next one, was like a real, like, think a spa type bathroom.
Well, now you can
awesome.
throw in like the heated seat. I appreciate that a little better than the floors.
Yep. Well, I heard you say it early on in the show, electronics, and I know you're kind of a nerd for that. So what does that electronic situation look like?
It's so hard to even fathom what that would look like, just because technology advances so much. I mean, everything I could think of that I think of when I think about it, it's like, man, that could be a reality in 5 years. I mean, might not be able to afford it, but who would have thought live scope or forward facing sonar would become a thing? Back in the day, it's become such a staple now that everyone's talking about it. Everyone, lots of people are using them. It's a very big staple, but just not that long ago, that technology wasn't even really thought of too much. So, right. But I think just knowing what I know based off of that is I would want some sort of live type imaging, but I'd like a hybrid between like a 360 view type deal and that forward facing, more of like well, actually, you kind of sent me some ideas of things that you liked, and the holographic fish swimming around, would be, similar to that.
That's exactly.
But I don't know if the holograph thing. It's hard to say because it's the technology I don't use. That basic idea, but I don't know if I'd have to have it on a screen or if I do that full hologram.
It would look like Star Wars when she's like, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. It would just be like floating in the air.
I mean, that would be pretty cool, but I just don't know if I could handle it. But the graphics and the thought of watching the fish swimming, that'd be pretty sweet.
We may not have it, but it is going to happen at some point.
Oh, yeah.
We may be gone before that happens, but it will happen. And we think live sonar is cool. Wait till that stuff shows up.
Technology is going to change the game continuously. It's going to get crazy. I can't even, like I said, I can't imagine where we're going to be in five years, let alone 10.
Yeah. I think the first thing we'll see is like a full wall screen, and I think it'll be like a touch screen, almost like an iPad type of thing, and it'll be that thickness. And then we'll go from there to the holographs floating in air, which will be cool. I mean, I've seen the guys from Minnesota Recreational Rentals. They've got, their fish houses that they've built that basically have a wall of televisions. I'm thinking that it's going to be just like one big screen that will have iPad-style capabilities. You'll be able to zoom in, zoom out, do that type of thing to it, and it'll be really, really cool. And then I think we're going floating holographs from there.
And you brought up a point that it actually might have changed my answer, because I mean, I just keep thinking that the limitations is where I get hung up. I think of these ideas and I'm like, God, that's not enough. Because underwater camera that you don't need a camera for, that you can physically you're seeing everything that's going on real time underneath you. Maybe like
underwater camera hooked up to a VR system.
Not even like I mean, we're talking no technology, no nothing. Maybe it's a camera that's on your hovercraft that is scanning through the snow and ice and giving you a real time picture of everything that's going on underneath you. Perfect world.
We're patenting all these ideas, by the way.
Water clarity is not going to be an issue. You're going to be able to see far. I mean, the sky will be the limit when I design this house.
Right, yeah.
All for a bucket of 9-inch crappies, baby.
Yep, that's what we're about. And that's kind of the other thing, and it gets talked about all the time with live sonar. It's like, well, how far can we go, and do laws need to change? We're going to go super far. We're not going to get into that, because that will really... We're already, like, in this weird spot with this topic, and that we put no limits on it, but we don't need to go into that either.
We're just talking fun and
We're just
great
talking
ideas.
fun and awesome ideas. So we've talked a lot about creature comforts, we've talked about fishing, but how about just one of the things that bothers me about a lot of fish houses is like, there might be one spot in the house that's comfortable to sleep in, but a lot of uncomfortable. So I'm thinking like the best mattresses, like not the best mattress in a fish house, but like the best mattress you can think of. And again, costs. So I know those mattresses are in there to save cost, to save space, but I'd love a big mattress in there that's comfortable, that you could really, really snooze away the day.
Yeah, that would make a big difference for sure.
And I think some people, and you see it every year, let's say between Christmas and Thanksgiving, maybe a little bit into early January, but people get out for the first time every year and fire up the furnace, and it doesn't fire up. So how about a furnace that always runs? And I think they're getting closer to solving that problem. I know a lot of brands are moving to the higher end furnaces, and it's not as many issues. But whenever you're pulling something in a trailer down the road, there's just going to be...
Well, we're also dealing with a lot of extremely rough conditions, and I mean, we tell ourselves all the time in the tournament world that the equipment that we're using, granted it's all ice fishing equipment, these materials aren't necessarily built to withstand the temperatures of constant. I mean, you're driving down the road going 70 miles an hour, pulling your house behind you in negative 10 degrees, that ambient air temperature that's hitting your gauges and your valves for your tanks and all that stuff. It just everything takes a serious beating in this kind of weather.
You got salt and everything else that you're dealing with. But how about like almost like a domed window type of situation? We think of like the Jetsons, but it's got to be able to at some point cover it so you can kind of darken things up if you want to. But I like having visibility when I want visibility.
Technology is not going to be an issue, so I mean, I'm thinking that you're going to have a dome that when you look out, it's going to be like looking through the best glass. It's going to be Swarovski glass looking out, but it's going to be black looking in. No one can see in. You got that black reflecting that sunlight, maybe holding a little bit of heat in your little pod.
What else? Anything else you got?
No, I think we covered her pretty well. I mean, once you can see everything underneath you and you don't have to worry about ice thickness, you know, I guess we didn't talk about how are we going to drill the holes?
Yeah.
That would have to be built into the hover system, into somehow the contraption that drops down, drills the hole, and cleans the hole all in one shot.
Yep, that would be cool. And like one of the images I sent you, it looked like there was like some sort of electronic technology around the auger that would show like what species could be below you. I think we'd already have that with our electronics in the house, that we could basically see through the ice, but maybe some sort of advanced smart auger. Yeah, I like it. That'll happen at some point too.
Yeah, that's probably coming down the pipeline too.
We got to go somewhere, and I can just only imagine. I mean, I know today when we're out and we're working, and you know, I do shows and stuff in the winter time, and people come up and you're showing them the latest greatest electric auger, and they're always like, I already got one. You know, what happens when we're going to try to sell someone an auger that's going to like give us some graphics of what fish are below us? They're going to be like, yeah, I already got an auger. I don't need that. I think that's going to be cool enough where it'll be the newest, latest, greatest technology. So
you never know. We'll see what's coming. I mean, even getting an auger that told you the depth before you drilled the hole would be pretty sweet in this world.
Yeah, the depth of the ice too, just the thickness of the ice, the depth of the water below you. How about the other thing? What about rods and reels and lures? And I mean, I can think of, I know there's restrictions on like hook setting devices in Minnesota, but maybe if you had something that could, maybe jig for you or something if you wanted to do that. You know, maybe you're tending to that midday pizza and it would automatically, and I know those devices are out there. I've seen them for other styles of fishing that can jig your rod for you, but I'd hate to do that most of the time. Like, that's why we're there, to fish, right?
That's why I'm there.
That's why we're there.
That's the only thing I was thinking the whole time is I don't
want anybody else to
setting
do
my
that.
rod down very often.
Yeah. That's the whole fun of it, is to have the rod. Why go out there if you're going to let a machine, what are we going to do? We're just going to sit there and read a book? No.
Well, according to you,
we're getting rid of
brisket.
I'll be smoking a brisket. We're getting rid of the automatic jigging idea. No, we're Xing that out, not doing it. But I think this was fun, and we're going to post this up on the Facebook page as well. So if you've got ideas of maybe what you would want in your ultimate fish house, that technology is not anything that's going to stop you. Money's no object. What's your idea? I'd love to hear it. But for Al Escobedo, I'm Chris Larson. Thanks for kind of indulging in our weird ideas. It was just something I'm like, let's try doing something off the wall. So that's what we did today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys.